For the month of September, your girl put together a very ambitious and massive TBR. I'm talking 18 books, guys. That is absolutely bonkers, but because we're going into the fall season, cozy season, I thought why the heck not? So for the month of September, I put together a list of reading challenges that I thought would be really fun to help me tackle my TBR. And in today's video, we're starting off with the first reading challenge of September, which is letting my TBR jar pick my next read. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here and I'm so glad you clicked on today's video. For the month of September, I have a very hefty TBR. We all know this already. Your girl thought it'd be a good idea to put 18 books on her September TBR. I mainly have that many books on my September TBR because we're going into the fall season, we're going into cozy season. I usually read the most during this time of year just because there's nothing better than getting cozy with a good book. I have 18 books on my September TBR and in today's video, we are going to start tackling it. My goal for September is to do a ton of really fun reading challenges to kind of help me tackle my TBR. I'm mainly going to focus on 1 to 2 books every single vlog and taking my time with them, enjoying them. So for today's video, for the first reading challenge of the month of September, the TBR jar is back, guys. I'm going to be letting my TBR jar pick our read for today's video. I haven't done a TBR jar video in such a long time. It's definitely been a few months, so I thought it'd be really fun to pull her out for today's video. For TBR prompts, I basically have the same ones that I've been using from previous videos, but I also put the titles of every book on my TBR into here as well. Really quick, I'm just going to show you guys the 18 books that I have on my TBR so you kind of have an idea of what we're working with. We have The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller, The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. I want to read this so bad in the fall. It's giving all the cozy vibes, guys. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, Behind the Net by Stephanie Archer, a cutie little hockey romance because we are quickly approaching hockey season, Pumpkin Spice and Everything Nice, another cute little fall romance, First Down by Grace Riley. Football season is also coming up. I am so excited for it. Coach by Devney Perry, Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. I am so excited to finish up the Cruel Prince trilogy. This whole series has been such a fun experience. The Silent Patient, I've heard incredible things about this and so many of you keep recommending it to me. Year 1 in the Kingmaker series by Sophie Lark. We also have The Sinner's Duet by Sophie Lark. This is such a pretty edition. It's from Eternal Embers. Beautiful Villain by Rebecca Kenny. This is a Great Gatsby retelling and it takes place in modern time. And it also has vampires. We have Wisteria by Adeline Grace. You guys know I'm so excited for this book as well. It's the 3rd and final book that is a part of the Belladonna trilogy. Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton, a very dark romance. So many wild things are said about this book and I'm honestly to the point where I'm not scared of it anymore and I'm more just intrigued and curious about it. We have Collide, which is another cutie little hockey romance. I've heard really good things about this. The Cheerleaders by Kara Thomas, another mystery thriller about 6 cheerleaders who basically go missing. Nightbane by Alex Astor. I'm also so excited for this book because in August I read Lightlark and that was such a beautiful and fun experience. If you haven't read Lightlark, it's honestly one of my favorite books of 2024. And then last but not least, we have Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. This is book 2 in the Rose Hill series and I am so excited. You guys know I love my Elsie Silver. So those are all the books on my September TBR. I was not kidding when I said we have a ton. We are going to choose from the TBR jar. I'm just going to pick one book for today's video. Quality over quantity, guys. Remember that. Okay, here we go. I always get so nervous when I do a TBR jar because obviously I have an idea of the books that I really want to read, but you never know with the TBR jar. You can literally get anything. We might be reading a dark romance today. We could be reading a mystery thriller, which a girl is not ready for a mystery thriller. Only the first week in September. It is too soon to get spooked out. This is literally how tiny I crinkle some of them up. It's kind of ridiculous. Let's see what our first little prompt is. Okay. Oh, it's a long one. It's a long one. A book with flowers on the cover. Love that messy handwriting for me. Does Nightbane have any? I want it so badly to have flowers, guys. It literally has nothing on it. Meanwhile, Lightlark had the biggest flower on the cover. So Nightbane is out of the pile. The Cheerleaders is also out. Definitely no flowers on the hockey romance. Haunting Adeline does indeed have flowers on it. Spooky. Okay. I'm not mad about it so far. We have Wisteria. We also have Beautiful Villain. We've got a few little itty bitty flowers. Sinner's Duet, no flowers. Nothing on the Kingmakers. Silent Patient is also out. Queen of Nothing. I don't think that's considered flowers. That's out. The Coach is out. First Down is out. Pumpkin Spice and Everything Nice. Oh, this is also out because it's just a bunch of fall leaves. Behind the Net, also out. Good Girl's Guide to Murder, out. The Spell Shop is in. We have flowers all over this. We even have flowers on the edges. This is an Owl Crate special edition. It is absolutely stunning. The Shadows Between Us. There are flowers on the cover. They're just super, super dark. No flowers. We have a total of 5 books with flowers on the cover, so we are going to keep pulling from the TBR jar and see what our next prompt is. Our second prompt is going to be book with a person on the cover. Shadows Between Us, out. The Spell Shop, there is a person technically on the cover if I reverse the dust jacket. So we are keeping the Spell Shop in, guys. Beautiful Villain is out. Wisteria is so in. Haunting Adeline doesn't have a person on the cover, but there's a skull, and technically that was a person at one time. We'll keep it in, keep it interesting. We're down to 3 books. I feel like they're all drastically different. We have a dark romance, we have a gothic romantasy, and then we have a cozy romantasy. Next prompt. Oh, this one must have ripped. It just says book on it. So I guess all 3 of them will stay in the pile because they are all indeed books. Let's try again. Oh my god. What are the odds that I pull out the prompt that ripped? Okay, so this definitely went together. A book you want to reread. We're still rolling with the TBR jar, guys. I haven't read any of those yet. I'm really surprised I haven't gotten like one of the book titles yet. I feel like I literally just manifested this book. I literally put it out into the universe. I'm so surprised I haven't got a book title yet. I got a book title, guys, and guess what book it is? We're freaking reading Wisteria in today's video, and I am not mad about it. I am so excited. It is one of my most anticipated reads for the end of the year. I'm so excited for this because I have very high hopes that it's going to be the 5-star out of all 3 books for me, and it's going to be my favorite book. I'm literally in shock right now. I can't believe that just happened. If you haven't read Belladonna yet, I could not recommend Belladonna and book 2, which is Foxglove, more than enough. Like, those books are so much fun. The best way I can kind of put it is it reminds me of Bridgerton, but if you kind of made Bridgerton darker and more gloomy. The story was so much fun though. It revolves around a girl named Signa. She can basically see and communicate with ghosts. She's trying to uncover these murder mysteries in the book, and it is so much fun. And don't even get me started on the romance. The romance in book 1 and book 2. The romance in those books is literally to die for. It's absolutely amazing. Wisteria is book 3 though. I'm gonna try and do this in the best way possible to keep it spoiler free for you guys, but it's always hard when I'm reading book 2 or book 3 in a series because you can't talk about much without spoiling the first book. So I'm gonna keep it spoiler free though. This book is revolving around 2 different characters compared to book 1 and book 2. We're getting another enemies to lovers in this book. We're getting some forced proximity. We're getting a marriage in here that neither party wants to be a part of. I know the storyline of this is going to be so crazy too, just because of how book 2 ends off. It's kind of a crazy cliffhanger. The 2 main characters don't know the stuff that you know. I love a good enemies to lovers because of the banter we get, and I can tell that these 2 characters are going to absolutely despise each other, and it's going to be so much fun to read about. We're gonna hop right into it and start Wisteria. So excited. Okay guys, we're doing our first check-in of the reading vlog. I just hit chapter 5, page 59. I listened to the audiobook for the first chapter of the book while I made my coffee and breakfast this morning. I have to say, the audiobook, it's not that it's bad, it's just the person who was voicing the audiobook, she had a very relaxing and calming voice, but it just wasn't matching the vibe of the story for me. So I only listened to the first chapter of it, and then I actually found a whole Spotify playlist for Wisteria, and there are so many really good songs on here. It's also a little chilly out this morning, so I feel like the fall vibes are also vibing. It's been a very cozy, relaxing morning so far though. The first 60 pages of this book have been so much fun and so much better than what I thought it would be. I feel like usually in the beginning of books like this, there's just a lot of time taken to kind of set them up, set up the world, and since the story is revolving around not newer characters, but not the characters we're used to it revolving around in book 1 and book 2, I don't know why, I just thought there was going to be more time kind of setting up their story and setting up the beginning. But from the very beginning of this, I'm talking the prologue, we are kind of just jumping into the whole story, and I absolutely love it. The prologue specifically is probably my favorite at the moment, just because we're kind of getting a peek into the past and little moments between fate, life, death, and then the first 50 pages of this book have just been so much fun. Can't think of the right term, but basically both parties don't want to be married to one another. They absolutely despise each other, and the enemies to lovers vibe in this, it's so good. You can really feel the hatred between these two characters. They absolutely despise each other. Because they're married now though, they're definitely being put into that forced proximity environment, and it is just so much fun to read about because they can't even stand being within 5 feet of one another. I'm living for the banter. The witty names that they're coming up for one another is absolutely hilarious. All of chapter 4 too was kind of Blythe and Eris adjusting to this forced proximity, and it is so funny. They are literally at each other's throats. I love when there's really good banter between enemies to lovers, and I feel like a lot of books that are enemies to lovers don't always have like that top tier banter that we crave from it. We're only 60 pages into this book, and I can assure you guys the banter is amazing. It is top tier, and just their bickering going back and forth. I told you guys I already think this is going to be a 5-star read, and it's going to be my favorite book out of the series just because I'm so intrigued with these two characters and I love the enemies to lovers vibes. My only hope for this book is that the slow burn slow burns and that we continue to get a lot of really good banter between Blythe and Eris, but we are going to keep going. I am absolutely loving this so far. I'm always getting questions on the type of headphones I use in my videos because I do love listening to a ton of audiobooks. I listen to music when I'm reading, so I am constantly wearing headphones, and the ones I've been loving so much recently are the Space One Pros from Soundcore, which is the kind sponsor of today's video. When I tell you guys these are the comfiest and cutest headphones I have ever worn, I am not kidding. These are so comfortable to wear. The thing I love most about these headphones though is I'm able to actually fold them up and make them more compact. I can reduce the size of them by 50%, and it is literally life-changing. Usually headphones are super clunky and big. They're kind of hard to travel with, carry around, but the Space One Pros have a Soundcore engineered flex curve structure, and it allows them to fold up nicely so that they're more compact to travel with. You can also get their Space One Pro travel case, which I absolutely love. It just keeps the headphones safe, especially when I'm traveling. Not only do these headphones offer amazing sound quality though, they also have a 4-stage noise canceling system. So when I'm out in public, like the bookstore or a coffee shop, the noise canceling of these headphones is so nice because I'm able to block out the outside world and listen to my favorite music, my favorite audiobooks. Soundcore's 4-stage noise canceling system targets and cancels out on-the-go noise in real time based on your dynamic movements. Sometimes I literally just use them alone just to block out the noise. Soundcore also has a really cool promotion right now as well. If you use their code UNFOLD2GO with your purchase of the Space One Pros, you'll also get a free travel case, which I think is such a steal. The code is only valid until September 26th though, so definitely hop on it. Cannot recommend the Space One Pros enough. They are literally my favorite headphones at the moment. They're so comfy and cute, and they're perfect for the fall time and kind of winding down. I'll have more details and a link down below for you guys to check them out, but without further ado, thank you so much to Soundcore for sponsoring today's video, and let's hop back in to the reading vlog. Okay guys, we are doing our next check-in with Wisteria. This book just keeps getting better and better. I am loving this so much, if you couldn't tell. It's one of those reads where I literally don't want to put it down. I don't want to stop reading. But I'm definitely getting to the point in the night where I'm kind of getting tired. So I'm going to stop at chapter 18, page 213, just because I want to make sure I don't doze off while reading this, because the storyline is so good. It's so beautiful. It's definitely not how I expected the story to go, but so much better, and I love that. I think the last time I checked in with you guys was pretty early on in the book. A lot has happened. A lot of things have escalated. Things have already kind of gotten a little messy. Wow. So we've already talked about this marriage that both parties definitely don't want to be a part of. Touched a little bit on the forced proximity. The forced proximity that we were kind of getting in the beginning of the book gets so much better. I feel like you definitely get that little touch of tension and angst between our two main characters. Literally gave me all the happy butterflies. I was kicking my feet, giggling the whole way. I'm really enjoying this story. I feel like Adeline Grace writes such beautiful stories. I feel like the way she writes slow burns and like the build up to romance is so beautifully done. I never find myself getting bored while reading it. Even though you don't get a ton of romancing in the books, like a lot of kissing or touching, her romances are so addicting and good. And it's really just because she writes such beautiful stories, such beautiful characters. What really gets me with the romance in her books is what the characters are saying to one another. I feel like there's just so many beautiful and sweet little moments always being exchanged, and I'm just living for it. It's definitely one of those addicting stories where you don't want to put it down. I am feeling very confident. Really have high hopes that this is going to be my favorite book out of the series, and that it's going to be the 5-star for me. I think book 1 was a 4-star, book 2 was a 4.5. I really feel like Wisteria is going to be my 5-star of the series. Ultimately, I feel like it's just because of the slow burn in this book specifically. The slow burn is so good, and again, it's because we're getting that sense of tension and angst between our two main characters. There's definitely been moments where Blythe has gotten confused and she's starting to look at her husband in a totally different light, and vice versa. Eris is also starting to look at Blythe kind of differently at times. Both of them come to the realization pretty quickly and they try to shut it down, but we're just getting so many good moments between the two of them. And there's also a one bed trope in this, which I wasn't expecting, and it was so good. There's still a lot of really good banter. There's still a lot of really funny name calling in this. I want to say the last 50 to 100 pages were so much fun because we get a lot of moments with Blythe's father, and he is just Elijah is just something. We are about halfway through the book, which makes me so sad because I don't want this to end, and I feel like I'm kind of flying through it, to be honest, and that makes me really sad because it's so good. Chapter 17, which I just finished up, was a roller coaster. It might be one of my favorite chapters at the moment because of all the ups and downs we get in it. I feel like it starts off on a really good note. We're getting a lot of fun and exciting scenes in there that have kind of been building up in the last 50 to 100 pages, so we get a lot of really fun and sweet scenes, and then all of a sudden I feel like the world comes crashing down and some crazy stuff kind of happens, and now I don't know what's to come or what our characters are going to do to navigate this situation. I also must say the one hard part about reading this book is that the way book 2 kind of leaves off on a cliffhanger, but it also leaves you with a lot of information to kind of process and sit with, and then you go into book 3 with 2 new main characters and you know all these things about them, but a lot of these characters don't know that yet. So that's definitely been a really interesting part of the story. Nonetheless, I am absolutely loving this. I'm devouring it. I'm trying to take my time with it, but we are going to leave off here for the night and continue this hopefully tomorrow. Okay guys, we just reached chapter 27. We have officially entered part 3 of Wisteria, and things are so crazy right now. I feel like so much has happened. I genuinely didn't see most of it coming. We've also had a new character kind of enter the story, and wow, let's just say they are creating a lot of chaos, and I am so nervous to see how this kind of goes now. I can't remember the last time I checked in with you guys. I want to say it was about 100-ish pages ago. So much has happened romance-wise. I'm not saying anything, but the romance is romancing. Actually, I think the last time I talked to you guys was after chapter 17, which is when things were kind of getting crazy. We had a lot of ups and downs. It was a roller coaster of a chapter. In the last 100 pages, I was kind of just watching the characters navigate everything that happened in chapter 17, and I'm just so happy with how this is going. I'm so happy with how things are playing out. Now that we have this new character kind of entering the story though, we are kind of given this new little mystery aspect of the book, which I absolutely love. In book 1 and book 2, there were 2 like murder mysteries that Signa was trying to figure out, and I was wondering what was going to happen in book 3 if Adeline Grace was going to do another murder mystery. We are kind of getting a little mystery in this now. I am so lost, but I'm loving it. I'm loving the story. I'm loving these characters. I'm head over heels in love with Fate naturally. I think I was in love with him in book 2, to be completely honest, and he was insufferable in that book. So I do feel like we're getting so much more romance in book 3 compared to book 1 and book 2. We also occasionally do get little scenes with Signa and Death and previous characters. I love that so much, and because those were the characters and the stories that made me fall in love with this series, they just have such a special place in my heart. Yeah, we are now in part 3. I think there is a part 4, so this is very interesting. We're also getting another point of view, which I am so excited about. I love dual point of view stories. It's always so much fun seeing the story from a different character's point of view. We're officially in the last little bit of the book. I'm so nervous. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I know it's gonna be amazing, and I'm just hoping that everything kind of works out for the best. But we are gonna finish up Wisteria. I'm still very hopeful, guys, that this is gonna be my 5-star and it's gonna be my favorite book. I'm still very hopeful. Okay guys, we have officially finished Wisteria by Adeline Grace, and I'm so upset that it's over. It was everything I hoped it would be and more, honestly. I love this book so much. It is absolutely a 5-star read for me. It is absolutely my favorite book out of the series. Book 1 and book 2 will always have such a special place in my heart just because they're about Signa and her story, and those are the books that hooked me right away and made me fall in love with this series. Wisteria was so good. I can literally cry right now at the ending of this, and because I have the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, there's like a bonus chapter at the end. Guys, I am unwell. It was literally so good. It's one of those books that I'm gonna be thinking about for a really long time. This book was amazing. This entire series was such a beautiful experience. If you have not read it, I highly recommend, especially because we're going into the fall season, we're going into cozy season. The vibes that these books give off are perfect for the fall, in my opinion. Adeline Grace just has such a beautiful writing style. The dialogue she puts in her books between characters is just so like heartwarming at times. Like all the little moments we got in here between our 2 main characters, especially when they weren't at each other's throats. Those little moments were so beautiful, and the words that they were exchanging were so beautiful. This was so good. Literally so sad that this is over, but 5 stars, Wisteria. With all that being said though, that brings us to the end of today's cozy reading vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you had fun. Definitely let me know down below what other reading challenges you'd like to see from me in the month of September, because I definitely want to keep the reading vlogs rolling. We have a very hefty TBR that we have to get through this month, so leave your reading challenge suggestions down below. And yeah, with all that being said, I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next cozy one.